Hey there everybody! Welcome back to San Benito County Free Library's ArtSpark with your friends Juan and Carlos. So today we're going to look at one of my favorite art styles, the collage. And I want to hit you with some fun facts, but before that, remember guys, please like, subscribe, leave a comment if you like, and hit the bell so that you're notified whenever we drop these art videos. Let's look at some fun facts about collaging. It was usually coined by Cubist artists Pablo Picasso and George Braque. And it actually comes from a French word, to glue. And the French word is collier. Don't quote me on that, I may have butchered the pronunciation. And the movement itself came from these two during the 1910s. And Mr. Brock actually made the first collage that I have with me right here. It is named Fruit Dish in Glass. It is quite a piece, and as you can see, there's a number of things happening on the piece. But it would be remiss of me to not talk about some of the other art movements that have actually helped craft the collage into what we know it is today. In the 1920s, we had a movement known as the Dada, and that is where they decided to split away from that sort of still life style that the original progenitors of the movement did. And they really wanted to use everything they could find, especially if it was something that people thought wasn't exactly fine art material. And after the Dada, we have the Surrealists, and they decided to expand that even more into what we have now as the cut and paste method. And that's the one that you see more often than not in these modern times. A lot of cutting things up, gluing them, but also the Surrealists really wanted to tap into the subconscious, really make a scene that my modern Met would put as conjure up cohesive yet entirely made up scenes. And that's why you get something that we would see as dreamy. And if you're in the market for looking at some art, there's actually, and hopefully they'll open soon, a Dali museum in Monterey where you can actually go and see some of that surrealist work. Hey there everybody! So on my right is a poster board, and on the left is a semi-finished collage by Carlos. On the lower left you can see some of my collages, and in the middle is our ingredients to make our collage. You of course have clippings from a variety of sources. You can get them from old magazines, newspapers, anything that you can think of. And to attach them, you guys are going to need some glue. In this case, we are using Mod Podge, which is a collaging sort of glue. However, if you don't have that, regular glue will work. And if you don't have that, there is of course tape, which works as well. And to cut up our clippings, we are going to use some scissors. And if you have an X-Acto knife handy, that'll help you out with precise lines. And if you don't have either of that, you can just use your hands, and that will give you a texture all on its own. And with that, we're gonna jump into Carlos showing us the process of a collage.
Today we're going to be working on a collage, and basically most of the stuff that I have came from magazines, and some of them were like old magazines. Some of them are from magazines that were donated that were going to be thrown out, because they're dated. And some of the images that I picked out were images that I like because of the colors that are in the images themselves, and they're just colorful. And some of them came from art magazines, some of them came from just Time magazines, some of them were images from like most of them I think came from art magazines.
I like what's going on there, Carlos. So how did you decide where to put everything on the board?
Okay, basically the way that I've approached this is something new for me. I haven't really worked on collages. I worked on small little images that kind of like fall into the collage category, but this is something new for me, and the way that I like to approach it is to work from the back towards the front. And what that means is that I want to like wallpaper the image or the board that I'm working on, and then the smaller, and as you can see, they're larger images. Like I said, they came from magazines, and then on top of it would be the smaller images.
I'm noticing a theme of red. Is that a part of the theme? You were talking about the colors earlier.
Not necessarily, but I think that, yeah, they're kind of like bold colors. Some purple, some blues, some yellows. And that's another thing that you want to take into consideration. Most of the images that I'm going to be putting on the background are kind of like images that are kind of like dull in a way, so that what you put on top of it will kind of pop out at you. For example, this is going to go right here, and the way that I'm doing this is I put a piece of tape on there so that it will stay temporarily. This one's going to go over here on this side. So this is basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of like wallpapering the overall design, so that I already have the background filled in with, you know, images or graphics. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a time lapse, and so we're going to be filling out the space, the whole background, and then we're going to start doing the other parts of the collage.
Okay, then we'll talk to everyone as we go through it.
Okay, so as you can tell, I'm wallpapering the background, and the background was red, and there's a portion here that you can still see, but I'm already kind of like filling in all the background, taking into consideration the colors and kind of like the overall design that I want to achieve. So as you can tell, it kind of like goes from the dark, it kind of like goes into the dark, and it kind of goes from black and white to also black and white, kind of giving it like the balance for the overall design.
I really like that. There's a lot of elements going around, and it gives your eye a sense of direction about where it should be going, right?
Correct. And then also the color kind of works in that direction as well, because it kind of leads you into like a certain space, and it kind of like directs you into the following space, which is part of what I'm trying to achieve.
And there's a lot of freedom that you did. It might look like you organized a lot, but you pretty much composed this however you like, right?
Correct. And then also, when you do collage, you would want to kind of put images that, you know, that are appealing to you. You know, perhaps maybe it's the color, perhaps it's the you know, like for example right here, the car. For me, you know, it's kind of like I like old cars, so that's why I included that in there. And you know, it's a nice overall piece of advertisement that I found in an old magazine.
Oh, okay. Well, it seems like you're almost there, so let's take one more jump and see what the finished product looks like.
As you can tell, most of the images that I'm going to incorporate into this overall graphic they're pretty much, you know, in the places where I want them. I can always take them off, and I can always put them someplace else. So it's kind of like a work in progress. It's not 100% finished, but I'll be adding a little bit of the elements here and there to kind of like finalize the overall collage, and it'll be done. So there you have it.
Alrighty, everyone. So for the last part of our video, I'm going to have a couple of photos about what collages that we've made look like up close. But before I leave you, I want to talk about the quote by collagist and painter Robert Kushner, that art can and should bring pleasure to the eyes while stimulating the mind. And all of us can really do our own mark on art when we consider what we can do and what we bring to the artistic sphere. Thank you guys so much, and remember, come back next Saturday for another art video. Thank you so much, guys, and remember, stay happy and stay healthy. And here are some of our works, all different and all equally valid as a collage. Thank you.